fatherlessness is like a disease. Eh? And he says something that age does not cure fatherlessness. You could be 40 struggling with a father wound, because fathers are supposed to affirm their daughters. Fathers are supposed to validate their kids. If I don't get it, there is a void. There is that, like, I'm going to try to get it from other people. When my parents separated, I went to my great-grandmother. I grew up with my grandmother, no. Then as teenagers, we started living with our mom. So, njogera ebintu ebimu ebibera mu mayumba ago. Sharing my story. Buli kimu from the perspective ey'omwana, kubanga ebiseera ebisinga abantu bakola choices zaabwe ng'abazadde,
ng'abantu abakulu,
naye omwana abeera alowooza ki. So sharinga buli kimu muno, bwe nali nkiraba, kye nali saagala, bwe nali ndowooza. Because I see many young mothers, young fathers, after their separation, they do not sit down to understand, they do not take accountability, they do not take the responsibility serious. Nti wadde tufunye obutakwatagana, omwana ono atwetaaga.
Njagala okubajjukiza nti channel yaffe eri supported by Crane Cargo, aba shipping ebintu okuva mu US nga babitwala e Uganda. Bakubire ku simu yaabwe, ne aba top notch tours and travel. Bw'oba oli Kampala nga weetaaga emmotoka, oyagala driver oba oyagala kwevuga, bakubire ku simu yaabwe, nabo ba top notch tours and travel. Nsanze okulaba. Vivian, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, so nakulwa leero nkuyise, njagala oyogereko, soko otandike by introducing yourself, abantu bakumanye, then otubulye ku katabo kokolina, oyogereko ku lugendo lwo. Tugenda kwogera ku bintu bingi, naye katutandike by introducing yourself. Weyanjulire ku bantu beyongera okumanya.
Nsanyusa okubeera wano. Thank you so much, Paradise. Nze Vivian. My official name is about to become Vivienne D'Amour. Ndi muna Uganda. I'm an author, a published author, and ndi mulokole, very important point. Nange nkola show bagita Fortizo Daily. You can check it out on YouTube. Njogera ku bulokole, abantu we babadde batambula, cause I felt a need okumanya how people live in their salvation lives, because sometimes we're like, okay, you need to come to Jesus, but how do you live that life? So for the last 1 year tuwadenga, I'm hosting different people, they wogela their stories, they share testimonies for the glory of God. I'm also a network administrator. I'm new to IT, but it's a journey I'm taking on. So far that's it.
Okay. Kati igwe njagala twogereko katabo. Wawandika akatabo recent, so kukajjayo abalabi bakalabe. So you recently published a book. Is this your first book to publish?
This is my first book to publish. Naye, when I was younger, about 12 years, 13, when I married out P7, nawandika akatabo, muchala wa anko wange naka printinga, naye kati ndowooza mama wange oba yakabuza akabulira mu bintu. Naye kino ekintu si kipya nnyo for my family. I've been writing even as a child. So kana katabo nakawandise in obedience to God. Ebintu ebimu byempiseemu, byanjigiriza, byenzudde. So nakawandika nga I'm just being obedient to God, because you know, he led me here, and it has a very important message that for the longest time sajuwulirako until I put it out. So nakawandika mbadde wano mu Boston over 7 years. Manyi wetubeera, ndabye ebintu ebimu ebitali ebibaddewo for years, naye nga ndowooza tebyetaaga kweyongerayo. And so my book is called Endless Quest. Where is my dad? Era sharing stories okuva nga ndi mwana muto. Bazadde bange bayawukana, which is not new to even these times. we see single parenting is very prevalent. There are so many broken families. So sharing my story, I wanted to, speak up for that child. Abera makati w'abantu abawukanye. Sharing my story, I wanted to emphasize the need for fathers, because I see many young mothers, young fathers, after their separation, they do not sit down to understand, they do not take accountability, they do not take the responsibility serious. Nti wadde tufunye obutakwatagana, omwana ono atwetaaga. So okubeera wano ndaba abantu ebeeyisa, ba baby mama, ba baby daddy, ono bamunoonyeza eno, ono asazeeko essimu. So nayagala okuyita kugamba nti no, abaana beetaaga batata baabwe, but also show you how. Yeah, so that is how I ended up writing this book. Endless Quest. It's a continuous search. Era bw'osoma kano akatabo osanga nti nange ndi mulokole. I went to school, but there is always a search. Gy'otamanya ng'omuntu. So abantu abamu bakola ebintu nga tebamanyi nti there is a gap they are trying to fill.
Unconsciously.
Unconsciously. Yeah, so when my parents separated, I went to my great-grandmother. I grew up with my grandmother, banjijeyo bandese. No, then as teenagers, we started living with our mom. So njogera ebintu ebimu ebibeera mu mayumba ago. Sharing my story. Buli kimu from the perspective ey'omwana, kubanga ebiseera ebisinga abantu bakola choices zaabwe ng'abazadde,
ng'abantu abakulu,
naye omwana abeera alowooza ki. So sharinga buli kimu muno, bwe nali nkiraba, kye nali saagala, bwe nali ndowooza. So where is my dad at is something kye natuuka ne neebuuza nga mmaze ogenda ku ssomero.
Nga tonnatuuka eyo, kati tubulyeko ku lugendo lwo, nti kubanga kano akatabo ngera bw'ogamba it comes from your personal life, your experience. Tubulye ku lugendo lwo nti bakuzaalirawo, like bakuzaalirawo, how was the family. So and then otubulye zino ideas gye zaava, because I'm sure obadde nazo obulamu bwo bwonna, what it is now that you're publishing the book.
So banzaala ekibuye, and story bisinga mbeera sibimanyi, naye kyemmanyi, those are things I have literally added up ng'omuntu omukulu nga ngenda nkula. In fact ng'omuntu omukulu, because ng'ojja okula kasita obeera ne school fees, oyina emmere, what are you asking for? Like nothing ever was ever said. So the story is nti ku myezi 9 nagenda ne bantwala mu kyalo ekyabazaala in Kayunga district, nembeera eyo ne jjajja wa mama wange, I should say great grandmother, muganda wa mama wange. So nembeera eyo nenkulira eyo, of course notandikirayo okusoma. Ebintu ebisinga sibijjukira, naye ate ebyenzijjukira mbijjukira. Mugenda ne mulima, mugenda ne mulinya emiti, onywa obuugi. So I do not know the link that broke, but all I remember from there, nali sinywa mata. So simanyi kyabeera waawo, simanyi babanzaala sinywa mata oba simanyi, naye waliwo ebintu ebimu by'otunuulira n'ogamba kino kyava ku ki. Naye kyenzijjukira while I was there, jjajja wange agezaako kumpa obuugi ntaddemu amata, nanywanga nnyo amata, obeera mu kyalo eyo, nanywanga nnyo obuugi. Kajjajja wange n'agezaako kuteekamu amata neŋŋaana. So I remember that. I remember mufumbira of course ku nku, ng'abaana bato, mugenda ne mulima, ne mugenda ku ssomero. Of course mama wange yajjanga n'atulaba, yajjanga n'aleeta ebyokulya. Kati bano we baayawukana, it wasn't amicable. Byali byakulwana, tebyali bintu byakukkiriziganya. So of course ezo stories sizimanyi nnyo, naye bwe baatutwala eyo, it was a way of, it should be maybe protecting us maybe, but also hiding us away.
Okutwala, yes. Yes.
Because mama wange yali muto. My mother became a single mother younger than I am today. So wabera mwana muto, my mother said something nti when you're a young mother there is a lot you do not know. So that's why I write this book to help some people. Because okuzaala omwana tekikufuula muntu mukulu wadde bakyogera nti ozaala omwana oba okuze. Naye it does not reset your brain immediately.
Kugamba bw'ozaala omwana tofunirawo knowledge and experience just because ozadde.
Yes.
You
still need help. You still need counsel. You still need guidance. So ebyo ebintu ebyo bibeerawo and not to victimizing anyone. Naye nze ndowooza ebintu ebimu tubibeeramu naye tekikufuula nti kati, you know, because of the choices you make. And also when you have issues, maybe you're breaking up, maybe you're betrayed, that time you make rash decisions. So those are things I bring us into accountability in my book.
Yes.
So bano baawukanye.
So kati okutwala mu kyalo was like to protect you but also to hide you away from your father.
Yes.
Okay.
So
wali omuweka walina ne baganda
balala? Nina muganda wange kati simanyi oba ye bamuleeta after kubanga oba yali asoma simanyi naye ansingako obukulu. Yeah, so ebyo ebintu byonna kubanga olaba our culture tebakugamba nti this is it. Ogatta kino
just be happening gwe n'obigattira ng'obuuza ebibuuzo here and there. Yes.
We baba bakuzeemu. So in my book I really talk about such a thing nti abaana abato bano sigamba nti abeera tebeebuuza kati abamu abeera akyebuuza muli twalinga tubeera ne taata yalagawa. Kati nze the good thing saamulabako. I was very young. So 9 months simanyi. Nkulidde eri otambudde ndowooza ne bajjajjaabo. Naye point eyo njagala saagala gamba nti no baali bamprotecta kyonna kyonna kyekyali bantwala. So as I grow, of course bangambye when you find a big tall man, my dad is a giant, I should say, was, he's passed. So yali munene muwanvu. Nga tukula, of course kati ndabawo muganda wange, ndabawo omuntu, you know, my sister, wabeerawo abaana balala bangi. We mulaba omusajja omuwanvu, run. So as kids, every time nze nga nze ddala kunze. Ogenze ku luzzi, oh by that way tukima amazzi. Ogenze ku luzzi, ogenze gy'olaba omusajja omuwanvu. Nga nziruka. Yeah, so it's until I started school. No Uganda. Okay, there's something called family. Nuclear family. Mubeeramu taata ne maama n'abaana. And I'm like, okay, where is my dad at? Where is my own? Yes. So we are well catered for, by the way. My mother comes, we have food. Bajjajja bakola bye bakola. Of course, I appreciate them. Yeah, so my mother, of course, she was showing up, bringing all she could. Namala n'agenda n'omwezi omulala. You know, so that is how I grew up. Until I think twali tulina emyaka nga 7 tulwadde obeezo mizozi biki amabwa biki mama waffe n'atukima n'atutwala. I think it was so much about treating us at komyewo. And also ng'omwana of course nga ye tasobola beera n'abaana atagenda akole. So that is also another reason twali tulina okugenda ewalala. So I know protecting her. I think our father kept looking for us. Ngamba, I think, because there is no story. And I have an issue with that. Yeah, my mother is still here.
Tali willing kugamba batu namubuuzaako.
No, ayogera lw'abayagadde. And I think it's maybe in our culture that there are things they just don't talk about.
Yeah.
In a way of maybe preserving our consciences.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I feel like it brings an emotional burden to the curious kids. Kubanga abaana bonna tebafaanagana. Waliwo agamba nze kasaba mpe emmere. You know? Naye waliyo naffe ababeera awo ne tugattagatta ebintu. Kati wenali omuto nnyo okujjako gamba nti where is my dad akyambeeramu ova nakisoma ne kintambulirako I'm like where is this big man at you know is it the big man you know so wetulwala batugyeyo you know batutreatinze we are very sick kati mama wange oyajjanga eyo yatufumbiranga enkoko asisa ebintu of course twagala okulya kubanga you know tuva mu kyalo you know wadde oli mulwadde mukwano bakubadde enkoko olina ogifiirako yeah so my mother says when she saw of course you know there's that love as a mother like these are my kids and I don't know how stable she is now but she says when she saw that n'agamba abanange sigenda bazaayo netusooka ne tubeerabeerako awo n'amaana atwala ewa maama we so that is like from 7 up to like kumalako P7
ate mama we yali luddawa
my mom mama wanga
ngamba ye yabatwale wa maama we so wajjajja wamwe
wajjajja waffe
ye jjajja ngali luddawa
jjajja yali abeera Masajja
okumpiko kale si mu kyalo
si mu kyalo so ne tugenda ne tubeera wajjajja waffe of course nze nava mu kyalo ninnya miti biki early days ninnya omuti nvuddeyo bataddeko coaching awo cause you know holiday tusomaawo ndi eyo mu break ngenze ku muti ninnye nvuddeyo ngudde you know there are those memories that are just you know just bittersweet jjajja akuyunze buli lweggulo n'akutwala wali keeyeeyo like those are interesting stories so it's been a journey of by the grace of God I should say God has been really very very kind to my family and sikyogera nti oba I appreciate my family so how do I get to my dad because later on namu meeting by the way that is very important yeah so tukuze tubeera tuzanya mu neighborhood kati wabeerangawo omuzimbi in our neighborhood oba yakoleranga kati this is the story waliwo jjajja wange zaala tata wange yabeeranga Katwe kati oyo gayi yagendanga n'azimbanga eyo kati
your dad
guy neighbor muzimbi agenda n'azimbira jjajja waffe azaala tata wange Katwe kati simanyi oba bwe yabeeranga eyo nga akola ki asangayo tata wange amusanze oba yali amumanyi ndoza lumu n'amugamba naye eringa ndabayo abaana abafaanana Robert you know so
nga tata we Robert
yes so jjajja n'akola ki n'agamba you know what mpa directions because it had been many years simanyi oba baali batunoonya I don't know jjajja waffe oyo n'akwata you know n'ayambala n'ajja kati atusangawo tuzanya agamba ye jjajja Derek aliwa Derek is my cousin we yabuuza ekyo ne mugamba ye jjajja abeera wali ne mutwalayo kati jjajja bano baali beemanyi bo ng'abantu abakulu baali beemanyi because even my grandmother used to work in Katwe so that's the beginning of this long dream of wanting to meet to know who the big man is yeah so twemanyiza you have these expectations ne bakola agreement to bring us to meet our dad ne tumumala ne tumumeetinga
yali atya like how was he as a person bwa soko mu meeting
so when I saw okulaba tata wange of course he was I do not really remember that feeling emotionally but I remember he could fit the image I had built for the longest time the big tall man yeah so I think I was happy but also not you know I was happy in a place of like okay finally I know fathers provide for their children so I think what my mother was not doing you know things like mama wange mutunzi katika ngambe nyambade this is like creamish right oyagala uniform nakutungira ya white ochaba like there is that shade eyitawo kati ebintu ebyo byantawanyanga nnyo as a child but I was really thankful my mother was our hero she comes every Sunday to see us we had what we needed as children but of course obeeramu ne kiri ekintu nti oba singa
tata yaliwo
singa tata baddewo instead of okumpa uniform ya muganda wange usanga yandingulidde endala oba singa ino sente za trip zino omanya abaana bagenda ne bakola trip kati maama wo alina okulabira jjajjaawo alina obbawa emmere alina osasula school fees biki ngaala abaana they don't stop wanting so those are thoughts byoba oterekedde omuntu omulala so of course you have these expectations and oli naye oba yalina plans ze oba n'abaana alina family eyiye biki so like there was a disappointment as we kept meeting
nga naye tali mu kudeliveringa nga bwe wali osuubira
bwe nali nsuubira as a child so that created a strained relationship as I grew into a teenager I'm like nakusabye sente za maybe mitwalo 3 ompaddeyo kasanvu okitegeera so those things really used to make me hold back and I'm like okay
kugamba expectation je waina teyaji meeting
eyo expectation eyo yanziza nnyo emabega so instead of like being thankful I'm like okay finally I get this big man so I didn't understand his role beyond provision because my mother was doing it and my mother does not fail
she delivers
you have to go to school you will go to school you take you shopping like so our disappointment so even after I built this expectation then I feel like okay akola byakola but it's not to what I expected because I'm like okay I don't have fathers I do not have these close figures for men but all I know omusajja alina okubanga akola omanyi nga abagamba omusajja
teyabakulira
omusajja
paka wajja mu diaspora n'ofuna reality check so no I understand naye kati ng'ogyeko ekyo gwe emotionally bwe wamumeetinga wawulira nti like the search is over oba era kyabulamu nti no kuba osobola omumeetinga in person nga waali naye ate n'owulira nga there's something else how was your feeling at that point
so emotionally I wasn't there yet because as a kid I didn't even know I had emotional needs. I didn't really feel like, oh, I need to be loved. For me, it wasn't that nurturing and the pampering, and I didn't grow up like that. You have to wash dishes, you go and play, you come back, you shower, you eat food, you go to bed, and the next day. So already, sigamba nti okay, bali already bali nga bankola bwe bati kati kiweddewo but that also has an effect because as you grow abantu bagamba she's too principled, she is too like this nedda bakwano, this is how some of us were raised and it does not negate the fact that we need affection we need it but we didn't even realize it so because eventually these emotional gaps zibeerawo we use many other things to cope. Omanya amata abeerawo nga waliwo omuntu gwe naabuuza naye ggwe olina omutima nga yabonaabona nnyo ebyokufiiringa after others n'abivaako akugamba akwagala naye nga nothing so nze gap eyo I didn't realize it until God opened my eyes about 4 years ago. So ono nalabanga tamitinga byenjagala netandika to be like okay gyali era abantu abasinga ebansanga. Of course I went to a good school. My mother is phenomenal at she's amazing. I went to a good school. I went to Stella Maris College in Sube. Traditional schools. I believe in traditional schools. So I went there. I went to the university. I went to MOOBS. I studied business statistics. So olugendo will becoming heavy is when you start needing the emotional support, but also you do not have the right vocabulary to define it. Nesanze, I make friends who are male. I mean, mama wange, mukazi, my sister, my grandmother. So that's the company I have. And I also went to a single school.
Oh wow, went to a girls' school.
Yes, I went to a single sex school. So as teenagers, when I went to high school, we twakomawo twatandika obeera ne maama waffe. Awo njizeewo waliwo takkirizaawo basajja, twalina edduuka teri musajja
abeera ku dduuka
alina kubeera awo okujjako nga zegula alina
n'agenderawo.
Oh, my mother doesn't play.
Yeah.
And she was protecting us basing on how she was also raised. Because bo balina freedom batambula ne bajja ne bakola ekatwe oba ne bava najja nankumbi. So they had yalina bagane balenzi. She was the only girl closely. So that freedom mwezo spaces okutambula no, let me use the word of, okay, I don't want to use it, but oba okwenjera in that way, in that regard, gye yasangani tata vanita. You know, so obeera omanye ebintu by'oyitamu. So she was trying to be protective.
To protect you from what happened, yeah.
Yes, but of course as kids, you do not know.
Curiosity, yeah.
You do not know. Olabula mama mwe mukambwe. So as when we were young, I had that, like that love. Like my mother is a hero. Like she comes, she buys me everything. You perform well, she gets you something. But of course now when we come, we're now teenagers. Tutatobeera naye. Mukyala mukambwe. Buli kimu kinabeera nga bw'aba akikoze ki bw'aba akigambye. So my grandmother of course was also good. Akola eyo nenga there is not this closeness. I think gye nsanze nti neetaaze oba gye nali nnoonya in other people. So there are emotional gaps that are created mu baana bye tutarealizing. That is why I emphasize nti abazadde bonna babeerewo kiba kisoboka. And even let's go beyond the basic needs. There is things like validation, affirmation, of just, you know, kids need this love. Because if you do not, that is the increase of teenage pregnancies. That is the increase of substance abuse in young people. They are trying to cope with something they cannot define. Katinze katonda yansasira. I'm in a single school. The only people who are close to us baali balokole baddala si bana b'e Boston. Baali bana bamusuba baali balokole. So they didn't take advantage of my naivety. So abasajja abajja kudduka ne bagenda, you know, you cannot, oh my God, my mother, even when she's sleeping, eri mabega w'edduuka ani oyo, you know, she was protecting us, and that is important. So inze that's college emikwano gy'aba, you know, those guys that are really close. We have conversations. I like to be listened to because for the longest time, you know, do what they have said, go back to your books, get back to your, I always had radios. Mama angangulya radio mbeera ompuliriza, but I don't have an outlet. Okiraba? Kitegeeza bwe nfuna omuntu annimba. Okiraba? Asobola okuntwalirawo, but God was kind. So abaana abatutute ku church, you have to come back home at 2 prompt. You know, so that's how I grew up. And you know, people find you and they're like, oh Vivian, you're like this. That's how I was trained. You know,
bagamba nti oli mukambwe.
Yeah.
Because I think they omanyira who we are today is a big part of how we were raised.
That's it.
And the attitudes that we have on life. Katinza sometimes abantu bangamba ntwala ebintu ebimu too serious because I had to cope nakulya mu boarding school. Katinga I have to know when to be serious or else you don't pass. Well, people like me who are naturally playful, boteyigiriza to be strict in some areas, ojasanga you're wasting a lot of time. So kati that's why sometimes people might misinterpret. Kati era nga bwe tubadde twogera abantu abamu obusirifu babutwalanga ng'oli munyiivu oli mukambwe, but some people are just bamukuza tayogera.
Yeah, omwana omuyambuza, one of those boys that my mother allowed us to be friends with. When every time we finish church, ngabera ngamba, of course babera bagamba buuza omuntu bichi
buuza ku neighbor
nze I say hi to them and I'm out because first of all I don't even know how to relate I don't know how to relate, especially on the other gender. So man omyanga nanga Vivian, you're so reserved. I remember that word. That 10 years later, after we've reconnected now, actually 15 years later I should say, again nangamba, oh my God, rumuna yampeleza something like something to laugh, you know, like comedy something, like a meme. Nema nemweza nangamba, oh my God, I didn't know you also like funny things. I'm like, yo, you know that 15-year-old me, you know that 18-year-old me, because I didn't learn to play. I'm not that child. Go gamba, get on the telechikopo. Nasuka nazinamu, nasuka neyetolola. No, when you send me for a cup, I'm bringing it. So I do not understand even adults who don't take responsibility because I do not know any relative or I don't know really. Has never that child. Gogamba simula wano nasokoba nakola. I do not know that because well my mother you gotta do what she tells you to do. Yeah, so I think we need to be kind to one another and be patient a certain way. Of course we need to be responsible. Naye abantu tugezeeko nnyo obategeera. Njagala nnyo abazungu because before they impose something on you, ngamba balokole bemanyi, they try to know who you are. They start a conversation. Before I impose my Jesus on you, before I judge you for whatever you're doing, let me get to know you.
Your story.
Oh, Vivian, she's too spiritual, she's too principled. No, when I get katuna naye nemubeeramu. So I learned commitment. There is no day my mother didn't come on Sunday. There is no day. Naye nga gwe sente ze Uganda ku muntu atakola mulimu gwa office nti bamusasula bichi. Isn't there a possibility that olumu teyazifunanga? Naye she had to get it. She had to show up. So that is the kind of person that was raised. You know, so high school, of course single-sex schools, you do what you have to do.
So kati of course mu high school tewaliyo ka boyfriend ku kyalo akasinga mama wa magezi ne kaite bali. Era kabayo.
I wasn't thinking about that. So let me tell you, this is a part of the story that is very important actually. Abaana abo babeera bali bana balungi. Era if I would have a big family, I think I would be inspired by their family. There were 6 kids.
Bana bamusumba bayitawo ngola obulamu bwabwe bwanjawuleko ku bwaffe. They're kind of like bayina empisa but also they're not uptight. Naye their father in a relationships n'abantu beno wabweru so nga bayina obutabo biki. So learning that I like to read. Lumumba nsoma akatabo bandetera akatabo sikajjukira bulungi naye kaliko love, sex and relationships. So nsoma mwalimu statement yagamba nti omwana omuwala waba talina taata we mu bulamu bwe yeewa abasajja. As a teenager with a strained relationship, because I kind of like, I'm not going to say I tried to relate with my dad. I don't know like there's no conversation in government. Oh, katata, okola chibichi, no. You struggle to make the connection.
Yes. So I would rather, I chose to be abere out instead. Yo, I was 16 and I first blocked somebody. I blocked my own father because he couldn't deliver. He couldn't like keep his word. Like I didn't know how to deal with him.
To deal with the disappointment.
The disappointment. I cannot take in so much disappointment. I'm remembering something like even just trying to put up this show because I try so much okubera nti chena kola nchikola chesta kola na chonchikola chi communicating. So omuntu ongamba ekintu takikola chintawanya. But that is also part of life, right? But as a teenager, I didn't know how to cope with that. So akataba kwe nakasoma sina tata wange present, nja kwewa omusajja
n'ogamba
ngamba no
sinze.
Yeah, so as a kid I was not that kind of child. Of course nalabanga bakazini bange ne ba neighbor, you know, even in primary school bali ene mabega w'ennyumba. I was not that kind of child. I was not.
Mpaka ddi?
I was not. But so ndabye your statement. Ngambe, I will not. I will not give myself to men. But I didn't understand that. I didn't know, I hadn't understood that statement. Because the whole thing is not giving yourself sexually, but looking for that affection
from other men.
Because, yeah, we need it. We need it. Because fathers are supposed to affirm their daughters. Fathers are supposed to validate their kids. If I don't get it, there is a void. There is that, like, I'm going to try to get it from other people a certain way. So, I was not necessarily out there giving out my body, but, you know, making these friends, we have conversations, you know, they help you cope. So, through high school, I think, but I don't know about Najis, so I cannot just say something about them. Naye, lumu yangamba, nali mugamba, by then nabadde ndi mulwadde nnyo ku ssomero, nabadde ngenda, I almost died. Nangamba, kati abewaka nandibagambye batya? Namugamba, what do you mean? Nti Vivian yafudde. So that kind of opened my eyes to like, nangamba olowooza byangu byogera biki? So one was really more kind. They are all good, but there was one who was helping me with my homework. You know, in retrospect, I think those are the people God was preparing. But of course, I was unaware. I don't know. Just close them because they really were good kids. So otandisa okusoma. Is that where the passion y'okusoma n'okuwandika we yatandikira? Okuwandika, I think kintu ekyo kyandimu because of recent my mother will send me letters when namuwandikira nga ndi mu P3. I'm like, Mommy, I promise I'll bring a good report. About to, you know, get a good trip because we didn't see her every day. So sometimes I just wrote letters and she phoned them. As a kid, I was just someone who was writing. So, but in high school, I was good at the composition writing and I was writing about anything. So one of my OGs was like, Vivian, I'm even surprised, like, you're delivering this late. You should have written a book way back. And I've been writing on my Facebook for, you know, a long time. Like, I just write about anything. But now, for the glory of God. Yeah, so, abasajja nga making us sure. Sigenda kwewa musajja.
So what year do you come to the US?
I came here in 2017. No, twasooka ne tujja. Twalina program ku ssomero yaffe. Early exchange program. So twasooka ne tujja mu 2016 ne tuddayo tumale okusoma. So 2017 ne nkomawo.
N'okomawo to stay.
Yeah.
Otuuse wano. Obulamu bwali butya? Wajja neyo family, wajja weka, walinayo ab'enganda ab'omanyi wano, wasookera Boston?
So we twasooka okujja biri bya kusoma twagenda Iowa. Kati wenkomyewo nenzija Boston. Of course sajja na family yange. Najja nzeka nalina omuntu atali wa family nnyo but as a guardian.
Nga hostel.
Ate nalinawo, yeah, teyali family naye waliwo omuntu eyali agenda okunyambako and they were very, very kind. They were so good to me. Yeah.
Okay.
2017 October.
Okay, so tuuse wano obulamu bwali butya? How were you feeling at that time? Were you prepared? Is this something you always wanted? What are you feeling otya?
So I'll tell you the truth. You know, as a little kid, I always knew I wanted to be great. But bino ebintu bino byobera mu America, tebyandi mu dreams zange. I knew I would become like a judge. I would draw the house I wanted to live in, a car. So this is an opportunity God gave me at the university, and I wasn't really chasing after it. So batade ku programu Katonda akoze byakola. So that is how I came. Kati wano sigenda gamba nti yali dream yange, but of course nga mumaze okuddayo, omaze okusoma, ononyeza ku mirimu, n'ogamba mwana, Uganda eno storage, you know.
Uganda is Uganda.
Yeah, so nfunya awo ku mulimu. So nali always mbadde ng'oyo omuntu agamba nti maze kino kyekiddako.
Yeah.
And also with certainty of like, I'm like, okay, nakoze wano internship, mama wange amanyi wano abantu, kigenda kubeera kyangu. So I want to say this. Ebintu katandika disappointment gye nalina ku Uganda. Omaze okusoma, olowooza you should get it easy. Nti, you went to school, you know. Obadde omanyi ogenda kufuna abantu abakuyambako. Naye disappointment gye nnina nti abaana basoma, emirimu oba bwegiri, naye nayagala ogukuwa, ayagala soka akukozese. So me, I was so disappointed. I thought when you graduate, omulimu wegiri, I'm applying, I have my transcript, you know. So that's a challenge I have, even as a young adult. Nti, okay, bangamba, njuka negamba, I'm not giving myself to men. Ochiraba. So already, chirina. But you need mentorship, you need somebody to lean on. So for me, I struggled with that until I always had people that I looked up to, because my father nani kozechi
wali omwesazeeko
mwasonywe manyi gyali biki naye nga simubeerako simulowooza but of course once in a while ogana n'ogamba naye enjala eri wano ennuma at campus oba mukubireko things like that. So ngenda okujja wano engeri gye nalikozeeko e Uganda nga I'm like, let me just kanzije buli kimu nali nki visa nali already njirina, so si byakugamba nti oba nkole nnyo njifuna oba biki God was kind. So wenzija wano omuntu nangamba onatandika ddi okukola, tulina plan ndala nnyo ne uncle wange. Mwita uncle wange. He's a very, very kind man. Tulina plan ndala nnyo. Simanyi nakumanya, I was young. Kati sajja wano nga manyi zize kukola. Nali manyi ngenda kusoma biki.
Obeere mu soft life.
So ngeno otuuka wano tomanyi bakolawo okubeerawo, you know. So omuntu yangamba nangamba natandika ddi okukola nentandika namugamba, you know, I don't know. You know, my uncle biki. Omanyi nasoma business statistics nangamba ebyo tebikola wano. As somebody who has been working, as somebody who just graduated that year, it kind of like broke my heart. I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Which I really find not true. Abantu abasinga bajja wano omuntu mu guiding ebulungi nangamba olina okukola bwotyo, you know,
conversation ya nursing yayingiramu.
Of course conversation ya nursing eyo
tebulamu.
My uncle yangamba, hey, nzize njagala kusoma economic policy biki, because already I have these conversations with my mentors, like I know what I want to do. Yeah, so nengamba naye nze sagala beera nansi. Sagala beera nansi.
Ekyo kyogera mu Boston kive. Obanga omudde.
Yeah, nze nagamba sagala beera nansi. But of course
nga kyekikugaana nga just passion teyaliiwo tekyakuliimu.
Yeah, that is something I'm still contemplating, because guess what, you know, having been here ogenda n'ogamba naye kugamba abantu bakola ebintu for money. Ate nze nali mulokole, ndi mulokole ne leero, but also I wasn't that kind of person agenda okukola ebintu ebyokulimba nga tobyagala. So I had that really innocence and passion for what I wanted. Kugamba naye njagala nga nkola ekintu njagala okikola.
Kive ku mutima.
Yeah, so genze obulamu bubadde butalaza question. I think it's been very challenging. You don't have so much, help, support, family. Of course, it used to get me very emotional. Those early years, I had my niece, yali mu myaka ebiri when namulekera. So it was tough.
Would you say Obuta having a family was one of the hardest things?
Obuta having a family, yes. Because omanyi abantu baffe tubeera tubaagala regardless. Oyinza okuba nti oba temwogera buli lunaku oba mama wange mukambwe biki naye abeera maama wo obeera oyina ewammwe. So okumanya, and I still had this, my mom, like she's going to be there. So tuuka wano tolinawo muganda wo biki ebintu nebibeerabeerawo bingi like olina okukola kino kugamba. I feel like of course there is no one way okola ekintu naye ate nebino ebintu bya wano of course with time ogamba bugambi nti omanyi oba oyagala okumanya ebibeera wano just come in here,
just yangu okyefikiringira ate buli omu alina omukisa gwe, buli omu olugendo lwe luyinza okukola ki lugenda balwanjawulo.
Yes, buli muntu alina obulamu bwe alina n'omukisa gwe. Nina abantu abazze nekibangwira, nina abamu so ngenda neŋŋamba nti before you come here, first of all master your faith. Master your faith. That is very important because it really takes faith. But also I think it's important to get a skill beyond the degree.
Bako nekyokugukamu,
bako n'ekintu ky'osobola okukola wakusiba nviiri kugamba learn something. I know our education system back home ye muntu ava ku campus nga tasobola okukola ekintu naye nga alina degree. So I feel like for you to have a skill is very important. Because I kind of was challenged. Of course, okuja kukola emirimu biki, but also those early days I was kind of happy. I'm like, zino sente ze bansasula zisinga zembadde nga ninya taxi nenyuma nengenda mu office. I'm like, okay, I was kind of like excited. I'm like, oh, zino sente bansasula na wiki, But as you grow, of course you're like, what is my purpose here? Because as a Christian, you really, really must know that life is really beyond making money, having a family. Like there is something they call divine purpose. So for me to really trying to ascertain that, even where I was working, I'm like, okay, I'm here for ministry. Because oyinza ogenda okukola ewanti ne bakugamba $3 ne bakuwa 2 nga bakulimbye. But of course also because you probably have no car, you have no connection or network. I'm like, okay, I'll hang in. It's even better than what, So amazima gatawanya abantu abamu. I think also there's another word that is integrity. Integrity. Oh my God, I need tissue. So, but God has been kind, So I come from this family that I was just happy to do some things for my family, I should say.
So wafuna opportunity wasobola okubako nebyokola.
Yeah, I'm a go-getter. I'm a big achiever, I should say. So my mom sometimes has to take 3 hours to, tell me to, you're like, Vivian, you're good. You're good. Yeah, but there is always more.
You can always do more. Yeah. So one thing kyembadde njagala twogereko nga tumaliriza, olowooza singa abantu babeera bali married ne bafuna obutakwatagana nga bayina abaana, how should, like twogere mu example wano mwe tuli mu diaspora, how should they handle that balance nti okuza omwana bulungi naye ate bo nga baawukanye bandikikoze batya ekyo?
So my book with so many stories here, you will learn, of course, God's idea for family. I think that is very important. The foundation is very important. In church soccer, you know, the Bible says, how can two walk together except they be agreed?
Yes.
And a foundation is very important. I've been in a relationship turning to marriage, and we're talking marriage, but when you think about everything, you're like, okay, why were we together other than saying oli mwana mulungi, other than saying njagala omukazi?
Nyash.
Things, those crazy stuff, right?
Yeah,
so foundation eno very important. Kati wamumanya nti okay, tuze together, we are building this whatever purpose. Nemuba mwawukanye. It is easy to find a middle ground. Ogambe naye we twali to meetinga, we wanted to honor God. Okay, we twali to meetinga, we wanted to reproduce, we have children. What is the bigger picture? So abantu ababeera baawukana, the most important thing is to, you know, of course, safety is important. Your safety is important. So no matter what, no matter the reason, you have to look out for your safety. So I'm not telling nobody to stay in a toxic relationship. But I never know. I feel like people should also have children because we are living in a crazy world. Olaba abazungu babeera bamaringa, there are some things they sign abagaga, so that in case we do something, I know this is crazy to say, but they sign like they call it a prenup.
Yeah.
Kati nange mbadde ndowooza kino kirowoozezzaako actually since yesterday nti people should start thinking about the capacity to co-parent. Nti if you do not have that capacity to relate to that person after
maturity,
the maturity.
Okwatagana, to be cordial. Okwatagana ne mukuza abaana n'otaleetamu feelings.
Nga totaddeemu nti, because honestly, when you've been abused, when maybe somebody has treated you bad or, you know, unfaithfulness, the betrayal, njitegeera, and it's tough, naye there is a prize wana abaana bano. So just naturally, I'm like, I think we should start, you know, if you do not have that maturity, because sina guarantee. So abaana bano tulina omanya nti batwetaaga. They need you as a father, they need me as a mother. Ng'omu tawulidde nti ali greater than the other person, because it takes two people to make one. Okiraba? So okumanya nti both of you are very important is something ekigenda obbayambako. Ate ekirala, I think accountability is important. Wetugenda ne tuzaala abaana mu bantu abatali accountable, tebabagambako, tebalina gwe bawuliriza, tolina ky'omugamba. Omuntu yenna omusanga nga teri amugambako, teri gwawuliriza, talina church gy'agendamu, talina a place of community where wona agamba nti yambuzeeko, ngenda genda wano, ngenda genda wa muzadde we. So accountability is important on both sides, but of course especially to men, because tebamugambako ndi musajja netegerera,
ndi musajja tebangambako lwaki ombuuza.
So abaana bano kintu kikulu nnyo. Abaana beetaaga bataata baabwe, beetaaga ne bamaama baabwe. So akataba kano kaava mu kulaba abantu abasinga nga basalako bataata b'abaana baabwe. It hurts. It hurts, and I've really also, probably I would be one of them, because I've been in relationships and I had to really end them so bad, right? Naye Katonda ansaasidde, and he opened my eyes to this book. So it's not only good because I wrote it, it's good for the information in here that myself I have to learn and teach myself and agree to, because it's truth. That abaana bano tuba tetubasupportinze, tugenda kuddamu tukuze abalala abalinga ffe aba struggling. I read something somewhere, olina agamba nti you are raising men you do not want. Nti ono omusajja yakutama omugobye olina omwana wo omulenzi but guess what
agenda vamu nga taatawe
because as a mother as a woman oh they don't want to hear this as a woman you cannot raise a man to be a man and that thing probably you could not tell me the same thing 7 years ago kubanga nange nali simanyi so it's in the relationships I've been in, it's in the disappointments, it's those places of heartache frustrations from the people I honored, from the people I was looking up to, that God opened my eyes to, you know what, there is a void in you, and all this while you've been trying to use these mentors, older friends to fill in search of your father.
So this book is for others, but also for you as well.
It is for me. It also has to remind me that at one point I was being in a relationship because I was really, really, really trying to be married. And it should remind me of the things I suffered because I was living for people. It should remind me that yes, I can be angry, I can be emotional, but emotions don't pay bills. So I read this book and it's important, and also mulimu stories abantu abangi nnyo kana akatabo nakawandika because it's not very exciting. Ogamba nti no mpandiika ku bulamu bwange ate nga byempandiika sigamba nti now I have a master's degree, now I'm driving this car, now
so
my mother
kind of vulnerable.
Yes,
vulnerable.
So it's a place of obedience to God because I needed to use some of the things I've been through to help others, not so that they don't have their kids go through this. I have met a lot of older people, 50 years old, that are struggling with fatherlessness. One of my mentors, even when he's passed, Dr. Miles Munro, says fatherlessness is like a disease. And he says something that age does not cure fatherlessness. You could be 40, struggling with a father wound. You could be 50. I have met people still, abazungu, they're attending classes to heal over this. Naye lwaki twagala tukole choices ezigenda okubonyaabonya abaana baffe for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
Yeah, so me, I'm cautioning us. I'm not saying I'm perfect because as you read this book, you're like, oh my God, I thought she was too principled. Oh, you mean you made such a stupid decision? It's the life we live. So I'm saying every single twagala putting on these masks of I'm all good. We are not. We are struggling, even in the church. Nali mulokole, I didn't know I was struggling. Hey, they're just my friends. Oh, they're just my pastors. I was telling somebody something, Joe, the reason that's why we end up almost worshiping some people. You hear some of these things in the church, worshiping this man of God. Why? Because they help you cover up something unconsciously. Because in a struggle, Joe Tamanyi, by the way they preach, by the way they show up for you, they help you, cover up something.
Papa, man of God.
We love them, of course we honor them. But there is a level to which some of these things are unhealthy, but we do not know. Nti over them relationship, hey, no, you're trying to find something. No, it's not that you cannot be single because you're too beautiful. No, there is a void you're trying to fill. And I'm not telling you to be single. It's not that you cannot be single as a man. No, you probably have used this as an addiction. This is an addiction to cope with something. So, ebintu bino bitulimu, of course, not just for separated parents. Abamu, maybe they lost their parents. Like emotional issues.
Instability.
That tetuza attending a konyo in our culture.
good. Tugenda tandika naye nga tumaliriza abantu akatabo ako basobola kasangawa.
Of course with Mr. Paradise. And also there are copies at 24 Crescent Street, Waltham. That is at Divine Sense. It's also available on Amazon. Bringing a few copies to Uganda because it's quite expensive. This is a book I believe every single mother should read. This is a book every father should read because we want to raise children who are emotionally stable, strong and resilient. It's not just something you want to take and keep, on your shelf nti omuna Uganda yawandisa akatabo ebintu bino byonna I didn't wake up in 1 month and wrote this. I've been writing unsure. I'm like I don't think I want to start this kind of conversation because abantu nga bakambwe topic otugamba otya ku ky'omwana waffe naye oyinza obutampuliriza leero
negula akatabo ojja bitegeera oluvannyuma kituufu because some people are not ready at the moment the information comes to them.
Mbadde njaga kushimalayo oyinza obutampuliriza leero n'owuliriza omwana wo nga alina emyaka 3 n'owuliriza 17 years later n'obikula kana akatabo n'osanga nga was helping you okumuyamba okumusupportinga as a teenager, as a young adult. So beyond the fact that anya yogera because we have these things as Ugandans tolina kyongamba. I wrote this book to help us, not as from an expert but as somebody that has taken time to study, as somebody who has suffered these things, as somebody that also knows great people. I have great men of God that I've learned from, so I share their stories. I have other people who have been through other things. Abamu abakwana stepmothers baabwe, abamu abatakula. People have different experiences, and everybody's story is important. Above all, learning about God as a father, because I'm only here because of Him.
Yes.
Okay,
so tujja teeka ne link mu description yenna yeetaaza akatabo akaba asobola okapickinga up. But thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Abantu bonna abalina ebibuuzo basobola kusanga ku social media. What are your social media accounts?
Yes, so my social media, my Instagram has Mama Fotizo. It has MAMAPHOTIZO. And then Facebook, it is Vivienne Damour, D with an AXA, AMOUR. Please follow me and let's have these conversations. I'm happy to have these conversations because beyond the cells, which are important, I want us to help our generation. So thank you so much, Mr. Paradise.
Thank you so much for coming. Yes, of course.
Amen. Amen.
If anything comes up, I will.
One point.
One more thing, okay.
I was so glad when I was doing my book signing and Paradise walked into the library. Onomsajja kalabika naye he showed up for me and he bought a copy actually. So I'm thankful to God for you.
And I also did a giveaway.
Yes.
I did a giveaway for one of my friends, and I can say this. We should have a little challenge for another giveaway, but we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming. That's the end of this video. We'll see you in the next one.
Amen.
And cut.